have to admit, when this all started up at the beginning of the year, I did not expect what kind of repercussion it could have for Christmas. Yeah, I was naive enough to believe that it will be over by then. I'd say Christmas season is by far my favorite season of the year. I just love Christmas ever since I was a child. It was such a big deal in my family. Very much the consumerist part of it, not so much the religious part of Christmas. But I always looked forward to all the Christmas lights being hung up, the Christmas markets that are popping up everywhere in Germany, and then the food you get at those Christmas markets, the hot cocoa and the mulled wine, of course. And every year I promise myself to enjoy the Christmas season, to listen to a lot of Christmas songs, to just, go out a lot, meet friends and all of these kind of things. And even though I knew that things will change this year, I still made a promise to myself. And in many ways I have to admit, this Christmas season has been a lot like any other Christmas season, and at the same time absolutely nothing like any other Christmas season. Generally I count myself lucky this year because I was able to spend the whole Christmas time with my family. The years before I was always studying and then just coming home right before Christmas, but then this year, because I was home all the time, so I was able to do all the stuff that I used to do as a child. So we did some Christmas shopping, of course, and then I wrapped a lot of presents, which I always very much enjoy. It's always my job to pick up the wrapping paper and then the ribbons and everything for decoration. And then I just love making them look very pretty, so we can put them under the decorated Christmas tree. And of course we went Christmas tree shopping. For the past few years I never came with my family to do it, but this year my sister, my dad and I went together and we decided on a tree for us and our grandparents. I just love sitting in the living room, having the tree set up, the presents below the tree, and then have some mulled wine together with my family next to the fireplace. So yeah, in many ways that part was just like any other Christmas would be. But then of course the thing that changed this year were all of the events. So for us here in Germany, we started social distancing pretty much after Halloween, and then it just got worse and worse throughout December, and then I think by the beginning of December the stores also had to close. So there were no Christmas markets, which is just sad. There were no restaurants to have Christmas dinner at, so we couldn't do all of these things, but of course there's always a different option. So what I try to do is to still make it as festive as possible. One thing we did to kind of bring this Christmas market feeling home is light up a fireplace outside and just sit around it, eating some food and trying our way through different mulled wines. One thing that we always did during Christmas time is my sister, my cousins, my grandma and me would go for breakfast together at the breakfast place. But of course, because everything was closed, we couldn't go. So what we did instead was we had a grandchildren evening at my grandparents' place, where we had raclette and we decorated the Christmas tree together. Yeah, one of my cousins couldn't come because he had a corona scare, and we also would have been too many people then, but it was still nice. As a kind of substitute for the lack of Christmas markets this year, there were a lot of light installations that different places made. My family and I visited one at a spa park, and that was very beautiful. You had all of these old buildings that were decorated with lights. It just looked very pretty. We went quite early during the week, so also there weren't as many people around. And then you also could only walk into like one direction, so you wouldn't have to cross people. One thing I definitely noticed this year is there were a lot of more light decorations outside the houses, and I think it's because the year was just so depressing that people wanted to like give Christmas time that extra boost and show that we did not give up. It was just beautiful walking around in the dark and looking at all of those Christmas lights and Christmas decoration. I really wish that's something that we could keep going. Yeah, and then just like every other year as well, the time flew by and it was Christmas already.
Erstmal wollte ich euch alle begrüßen und hinter dem reichen Tisch. Das ist überhaupt hier in der reichen Ecke, sagt der Postbote.
Ja.
Ja, der hat jetzt gerade einen Monat zu tun gehabt mit uns. Mit den
Und Amazon.
Alexandra hat zwei Sachen erledigt. Sie hat das Studium beendet und hat Arbeit gefunden. Sie ist im zweiten Platz.
Social distancing was a bit lowered during Christmas time, but still it was a bit hard. Like we couldn't make it completely work. We used to have these really fun Christmas traditions where us as the children of the family, so me, my cousin, and then later my other cousin and my sister, we always had to prepare a show. When we were younger, we would have to learn poems by heart, and then when I got older, I kind of took on the direction of the play. And we did a lot of different things. Like I remember one year we performed different sketches. Another year we just learned how to play the piano, so we just sang a bunch of songs. And then later when I got more into filming and editing, we used to make Christmas movies. And it just turned into this 5-movie epic of my sister and my cousin trying to find Santa. So that's always fun to revisit. But then for the past few years, I've been too busy. My family just has been too busy to really, film these small movies. So last year we started a new Christmas tradition, which is decorating little Christmas tree ornaments, and we put in a paper with our wishes for the next year. So this year we opened our wishes for 2020 and read them, which was quite funny to hear, and then we of course decorated more ornaments and put in our wishes for 2021. And of course there's food. And then there's more food, and then there's even more food. It's very good food, but it's just a lot of food. Another thing that we used to do as children is always, once we unwrapped our presents, we would go and play with those presents, of course. And because my cousin got a Game of Thrones Monopoly game, so we thought, to kind of reignite that tradition, we also played that game together. This Christmas time feels like a visit to the past. So that's the 24th. In Germany we open presents on the 24th. And then the 25th really is just more eating. I'm going to my grandparents' for lunch in a moment. But before, I thought I could quickly share with you what I got for Christmas this year. And first of all, I got this bullet journal. I got one for the past 3 years. And I always have my sister and my cousins and my aunt and uncle draw different things in it, just to take a page and do their own little designs. Then the second thing I got are these headphones. I had like quite good ones and then I broke them. I dropped them on the floor and they just like broke here. And then I got really cheap ones. Now I finally decided to get proper ones again, and I already tried them out yesterday and I'm quite happy with them. So I listen to a lot of music throughout the day, so I'm quite excited to use them. Then I got this book, Justice as Fairness, which I'm very excited to read. I got this whole list of books that I want to read at some point, and then whenever I'm not sure what to get for like Christmas or for my birthday, I just send people the list and then they can get me books. So I didn't know I would get this, and I'm quite excited about it. I think it's quite relevant in this time. And then the most money I spent on jewelry. Or more like I told my sister, like, this is the money I have from like my parents and my grandparents and from them, but like this is the kind of jewelry I like. I would like you to just pick a few things, because I used to buy a lot of just, you know, fast fashion jewelry, but now I want to have a more curated jewelry collection. So these are all from Ana Luisa, which is a sustainable jewelry brand, and I'm going to show you what I have because I'm going to put it on in a moment for lunch. So I got this necklace, it's just like a very simple gold necklace with little beads. Then I got these two bracelets. They are both gold and one has white beads and one has black beads. Then I got a ring, it's very pretty. I got very simple earrings, small hoops. And then I got this necklace, which I'm very excited about. It was designed together with a vlogger I follow. And you have one side, which is it symbolizes the sun, and then you can turn it and wear it like this, which symbolizes the night sky and the moon. I think it's a very nice design. Yeah. And that's all I got, and I'm going to put on the jewelry and then go to my grandparents' place for lunch to have more food. Although I have to say, on the 25th we normally have more traditional Russian food, and then we used to do Secret Santa, but because we wanted to do Secret Santa on New Year's Eve, this year we didn't. So we just sat there, chatted, and just had, you know, a nice time together. And then the evening was just very calm with the Christmas movie, Home Alone, the ultimate Christmas movie. And then from the 26th, it was really just my parents, my sister and me, and we went for a hike. We have a mountain range next door pretty much, and we hiked to the highest point. And the thing is, it's not like we went there for the first time. I've been there before, everybody has been there before. My parents go, I think, several times a year. But we always take a different path. And this time we took a path that I call Adventure Trails, because at one point we were just inside the forest. We had to climb up to a higher point to see where the path continues, which was fun. Our shoes looked awful because it was so muddy, but it was a very fun hike. And then of course, once we got to the highest point, we had some cocoa with rum and mulled wine, and then we were ready to hike back and have dinner together. And then we played a game together and had like just a very chill evening. And that was Christmas 2020. In the weirdest way, it was just like any other Christmas and nothing like any other Christmas. I think the feeling was a lot different. It was a lot more subdued. Yeah, I think also not being able to really go shopping for presents also took away a bit of the Christmas mood. I do count myself lucky that I finished studying exactly this year and I'm able to spend this with my family, because I think if I were somewhere alone, it would be just very different. even if then you have the possibility to meet up with your friends, but still. So yeah, just a few days left of this year, which for me means some reflection time, and then it's 2021, and who knows what 2021 brings. Maybe it will be just as exciting. I'm not sure whether I should hope for it or not. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and could make the most of it, wherever you are and however you celebrated Christmas. And I guess see you in the new year.